Hello, everybody. Good morning, all. I know this is tough times, and I hope all your families are safe, sound, and healthy in mind and spirit. We are going to start our session. Thank you very much, Gaurav, for introducing the agenda. So, as far as the agenda is concerned, we are going to initiate with business analysis and system design. We are going to cover four different aspects in today's workshop. Starting with first session, which is business analysis and system design. I'm going to go into details of what we are going to cover in the session. As mentioned, at the end of the session, we will have a Q&A where you can ask me all your queries. And we will end the session with a speaker address, Ms. Robin. As far as this session is considered, we are going to cover three major areas for business analysis and design. As we are aware, that is the most important aspect of any ERP implementation or Odoo implementation per se, because this builds the foundation for the project itself. This is like a Bible which has to be followed across throughout the project. So we will go into details of how we should explore and analyze the business. Along with it, we are going to go into foundations and structuring of business analysis questionnaire, what points to cover. So while we understand that requirement gathering has to be done, requirement blueprinting has to be done, but there doesn't seem to be a proper strategy in place. What is the right method? What is the right strategy? What are the right questions? What are the relations to be drawn? Need to be taken care in this area. And finally, we will go into the business requirement documentation, where we are going to see what kind of documentation would be useful, and will also build the foundation for the proper project development and deployment. Okay. This business analysis will require us to look at different hierarchies of an organization from all levels, be it macro or micro. As we understand that for every implementation, there is a transformation that happens here. Now, this transformation is happening at the lower level as well, the mid level, as well as the senior level. Also involved are the stakeholders which closely are transacting with business in a suitable business environment, be it customers, be it vendors, and in many cases, many suitable partners who help the company gain the business or run the business. So there is likely to be backward and forward integration as well. If we look on the screen, we can see that for any organization, we have multiple levels of hierarchy. These levels could start from supervisors or line managers at the bottom of the pyramid. We have mid-level managers who are primarily the super users or actually run the show on the ground. And then we have top management or the CFOs, managing directors, who primarily are the sponsors of the project, major decision makers, and are probably the key decision makers for the whole organization. Okay. For this business analysis, it is important to understand the expectations, relations, hierarchy for all these three levels at each and every step that we perform as long as business analysis is performed. You will also notice as we move ahead in the session today that these will impact our other aspects of implementation as well, which we will be covering one by one. You can also understand that the concerns for each and every level would also be different. For example, the managerial or top manager concerns will be based on profitability of the business, the revenue that is coming up. Is the customer happy with our service or product? Are we able to retain employees and give them a secure and healthy work environment? Are we able to build the value of the brand and multiply it over time? Similarly, the concerns of a mid-level executives would be really different. Their focus would be whether the day-to-day planning that they are doing either for production or for delivery or managing stocks, is it in line with the company's policy? Are they able to generate the efficiency from their supervisors or their subordinates as far as the work is considered? How many exceptions are occurring in day-to-day business processes? Are they able to predict, or are they able to forecast many of the business metrics which is expected from the top level? If we go to the last level where the actual work happens and people are on the machines or on the ground, we are primarily talking about day-to-day performance, small metrics. We are talking about availability of people. We are talking about how they are responding to small changes and day-to-day variations in the business. We are also talking about automations that are brought not only by humans but by machine resources, be it a simple computer or or software, or it could be CNC machines as well. Also note that it is possible that at different levels we have different systems in place, and the relation and the interaction between these levels can also be different. Okay. In crux, what I would like to make out of this particular slide is that business analysis is a transformational experience for any organization as far as the implementation is considered. It is the first step, and needless to say, becomes the most important step in implementation. And hence, it is important for us to take concerns of each and every levels of hierarchy while analyzing and designing the system. As far as the business process flow is considered, there are always some handy tips and suggestions that would always be in place how to go about it. Based on my experience of working with various enterprises across the globe, ranging from different industries, be it media, construction, manufacturing, e-commerce, retail, there are certain aspects which will always come in handy, and you should also follow them must to the hilt. Most important aspects have been listed down, which I would be explaining. I would also be taking care or explaining some of the business flow diagrams or workflow designing that we have taken up as a case study. It is important to understand the client's business. While it is fairly available resource or information on the internet how a particular industry operates, for example, let's say a manufacturing industry of a particular product. However, you will always experience while doing business analysis or understanding the requirements from the client for its ERP implementation that no two businesses are going to be the same. In spite of working in similar land with similar laws, in spite of working at similar sizes, in spite of even producing same products or even delivering same services, no two businesses are going to be same. Also, the pain areas of different businesses can be different. The motivation or the that factor that compelled them to contact you would be very different from other businesses. Hence, first of all, it is important to understand the industry pains and headaches for that particular client in that particular business operating environment. The pains and headaches of manufacturing industry might be very different in a capital area of India from that of maybe Canada. So it could be very different. Even in the same country, it could vary from the size of small company to a large company. These factors can be impacted by political and economic scenario. It could also be due to availability of the resources at hand. It could also be based on the cash flow of the organization. Second aspect to cover as far as the business process flow is considered, we need to take care that we take these business process flows from top management. Now, these teams are aware of the complete business from top to bottom and are generally clear with their vision of how the system should operate. They are also very clear with the inefficiencies that are currently existing within their current business ecosystem. They also happen to understand and interact with competitors, so they know what could be the areas of improvement. They are also aware of interactions between different departments and the problems penetrating them. So it is always important and it is always advised that the top management teams are taken care or are involved in defining the business process. Even in case where we are improving upon a current business process flow or we are applying business process re-engineering along the business analysis or implementation, the top management should always be taken into consideration. Please note that this does not mean that you need not require to interacting with the low level executive or the mid level executive, even that is important, but a clearer vision and path and a helicopter view will always be provided by the top management. As we go ahead, you will understand that as far as business processes are concerned, while you will interact with the users or the different stakeholders, there are always some key breakpoints or pain areas which will come into picture. So, for example, organization is managing inventory and is facing the issue of not being able to manage them on a real time basis. Maybe the inflow of products or raw materials is too huge and the resources in a particular warehouse are very less. They have very little time to organize them and store them in a separate category. And also we have a case where the stock is going out or being issued to the production floor very quickly. In these scenarios, what happens, there is literally no possibility of a real-time inventory management system. Now, these areas will definitely result in some kind of losses, inefficiencies, or some bad decisions. Now, these are the pain points or the process breakpoints or the pains that is going to come out as far as any processes are concerned. It is possible that some processes might run very smooth and may not have any major effect on the business. For example, a company who is in field of information technology services may not bother much about managing the inventory of its computers very efficiently because it is not an important matter. So even though from a business point of view, it is an important thing to do, but it may not be a pain area for them. So in a similar domain, in a similar department, in a similar process, the pain areas of two types of business can be completely different. Assumptions. As far as information technology is concerned, for any IT service company or product based company, we always face the burden of taking common sense into picture. Since I mentioned and have repeated many times that no two businesses are same, the priorities can be different, even the budget and the importance placed on a particular feature or requirement can be very different, and hence we cannot make any kind of assumptions as far as deliverables are concerned. So for example, if I am generating or if I'm processing a purchase order, the processing of purchase order might imply in a real world some kind of documents to be generated. For example, a purchase order, it might also imply that it needs to be approved. It might also imply that the approval should be done by a senior authority or a hierarchy based on the amount. However, I have experienced, and many of you might have experienced as well, that this even a simple approval process can vary from organization to organization. One of those companies might have an approval system based on the amount. One of those systems might have an approval system based on the product category. Some of them may not have an approval process because they have a predefined price list, and there are no products in which, or no purchase orders in which, a new approval is required to be taken care. So any assumptions as far as any process, any feature, any report would not be a good idea as far as the analysis concerned. In my experience, there have been many reworks wherever either the vendor or the consultant has taken certain assumptions in mind. If you are also absolutely sure about how a thing should work and you make an assumption that the client would need this, it is better to discuss that during the analysis sessions, that this is how I presume things to be, showcase them, and once they agree and sign off, then it should be taken as a step or a requirement. Documenting department process flow separately would be a great idea. The initial step would be to document the business process flow for the core organization. But as you go into the departments, you will realize that department itself becomes a complex mini organization. And hence, department process flows documentation becomes imperative in that respect. This will essentially be very important in cases where the department size is extremely huge. For example, companies can have a sales team of probably 5 people, but the manufacturing team would be as big as 100 people. There could be different types of people, there could be different supervisors, and for small processes, their hierarchy would be very different. And hence, apart from documenting the complete business process flow, you need to deal with individual departments separately. You are likely to encounter that the way top management envisions the business process flows for the organization, within the department, the process flows might be running in a completely different level. I have experienced in one of, or rather more than one projects, where the actual hierarchy on paper defined by the HR is not being followed at all at the department level. Either it is based on implied understanding or approval, or it is based on the seniority of the employee or his experience. And hence, you might realize that a lot of things which were discussed with the top management may not is actually not working at all at the departmental level. As I had discussed briefly before, it is important to understand the organization structure. And for defining the organization structure, it is important for us to go through a specific direction. In this direction, we will start with ideally the top management. These are likely some of the business areas or departments within an organization. This is an example where you can see at the front office, we have a business development team, a company engaged in taking up government projects would engage in tendering process. We might have front face point of sale systems. We have contract management with customers or vendors or subcontractors. We'll have a lot of support functions for documents, help desk, equipment fleet, project management. There could be many shared services. Please note that we are likely to encounter multi-company environments as well. And you might see that a lot of resources are shared. So this becomes a new headache, especially when these multiple companies belong to different countries. Even that is a possibility. So different cultures, different laws of the land, different currency, and in many cases, different processes as well. And finally, we have reports that cater to each and every department and processes which are important. For understanding organizational structure, we have to see the system hierarchy. We also have to see the work distribution that is being handled. You are likely to encounter cases where a person's job description tells something else, but on the ground he is doing something else. It is also possible he is doing much less than what he's supposed to do. He's doing a lot of admin related work which is not really relevant to his job profile and key performance areas. This is likely to be encountered in most implementations that you encounter, especially where the ERP systems are not in place at all. As we go ahead, we are going to take up an example of a business workflow design. The first step for any business analysis would be the business workflow design of the organization. As I mentioned before, workflow design, it is important or rather imperative for you to understand how the industry operates. You need to understand the laws of the land. You also need to understand the priorities and the vision that the management has put in as far as the ERP implementation or the system automation is concerned. Here I'm taking an example of how a business workflow design that would come into place for a radio station. I would also showcase you some of the other business process flows for other businesses. Please note that the business process flow that I'm going to showcase may not be the absolute process flow for any other radio station. It could be different. I won't say it would be very different, but it is likely to be likely to vary a lot based on the size, priorities, and even laws of the land. Okay. It is also likely that some of the other businesses may also engage in some parallel business or similar businesses or multiple companies, and hence their process flow might differ. As far as the business workflow design is considered, it is important to initially identify your resources. So when I talk about resources or rather stakeholders, I'm primarily talking about the major roles, people, in some cases departments, that are going to interact with each other to perform each and every step and have to complete the process. Okay. As far as a radio station is considered, I have taken an example where we are interacting with different stakeholders, be it customer. We have a department for sales. We have a department for creating creative content or production of audios. We have a team who is responsible for scheduling of advertisements on air or programs on air. We have a team from finance who is responsible for booking invoices and receiving payments from the client. Equally important to interact with vendors and knock off payables. And we have a programming team who takes care of the actual on air broadcast in a radio station. Now, many of these departments are going to closely interact with each other, and there could be cases of certain departments or stakeholders who are not likely to interact much with each other. There could be handshakes at a few junctures, but they may not have a major interaction with. As a second step, we need to list out each and every process, results, or rather tasks to be accomplished as far as the stakeholder is considered, and also an accountability which is attached to each and every stakeholder. As an example, we have listed down some of the tasks. For example, the salesperson is likely to process the leads. He is also going to interact with customers on phone calls. He will be taking care of opportunities, generating creative briefs from the customer, generating sales related orders. Uh, on another level, the traffic team is responsible for scheduling of orders and rescheduling. The programming team is responsible for managing the programming sheets, generating and collecting news feeds for broadcast, preparing programs or gigs for the audio, and finally broadcasting the channel. As we move to the next step, we are going into complex stages now. And as you interact with the customer, the way you want information may not be so easy to obtain in exactly the same manner. The importance that you are going to place in communication between two stakeholders or process exchange may not be as important for the stakeholders while explaining the case. Reason is they may not be interacting or doing those activities through a system or through a paper. For example, when you are interacting with a client and client is raising an inquiry for a company not using a system, these inquiries might be coming through trade shows or maybe phone calls or emails. If you have definitive system in place, then you have a lead acquiring system in place. So you need to model your questions. You need to be able to extract the right information from the client in a very definitive manner. Also, please ensure that you also cover each and every possible exceptions to each and every case. While we may not document the exceptions in the process flow diagram, but we are likely to use them for process mapping and designing later on. Okay, not every information that you collect at this stage may go into the workflow, but is important therein, and hence every note collected during the first step becomes very important. In this stage, we are going to mark the direction of flow of information or the documents or the cache between different stakeholders. You can see the interaction between the different processes which are being handled by different stakeholders. The inquiry is received from the customer to the sales department as a lead. He then processes phone calls and meetings with the client, depending on which an opportunity is generated in the system. Now, based on these opportunities, we create or generate a creative brief, which is then used by the creative and the production department to generate a proposal for the client. Based on this proposal, the client is either ready to accept the proposal, and if he accepts the proposal, it is generated into an order. In alternative scenarios, there could be cases where the proposal has to be created as a script, and after which an order has been generated. In other scenarios, the particular sales order is also likely to generate a script, after which an audio file is generated by the same department and finally provided to the traffic department. What I mean to explain here is that this process flow should be constant and should serve as a constant figure in the mind that this is how things should be. If there are process breakpoints here, or if some processes are being skipped on will by different stakeholders, it is important to note the reasons why. Please note that at this point of time, we are not going to apply business process reengineering. And even if you feel, we are not going to make any changes to the current business processes of the organization. If there is a request or if there is a need during the analysis to modify the workflow, then we might be able to generate one more workflow like as is workflow and to be workflow. But I strongly recommend that the to be workflow can only be materialized once you go into deep analysis and design documentation, because as we go ahead in analysis, a lot of metrics change and use stakeholders understand the importance of certain business process flow or documentation, specific approvals, and what happens if a certain process is not followed, skipped, or bypassed. As you are about to finalize your workflow, you are likely to face one more issue, and which is of workflow validation. So while you are likely to understand the most usual scenarios, because that is the first thing that comes out of mind for any stakeholders while they explain the process and the roles that they play within the business ecosystem, you are likely to encounter the scenarios where you will see that for different cases and some unique cases, the workflow may not hold. And hence, it is important to validate this workflow in various scenarios. Now, what all scenarios could occur is also dependent on the business analyst's experience or the consultant's understanding of the industry, based on which he might be able to extract that information. So, hence, it is important for the consultant or the analyst to do his or her homework to understand all possible industry scenarios and need to place them before the set team for business workflow design. In one of my projects, we realized that after the business workflow design was generated and modified to cover different business exceptions, when we finally presented it to the top management, he immediately observed and said that this is found to be wrong because you did not cover this case. Now, one of the reasons for that case not being covered was that such cases happened a long time ago, and this was not evident in the employees who had joined recently or were new to the company. So these are some unique cases that you are going to encounter, and hence it is important to validate this work. To validate your workflow, you test the workflow in different cases, run through them. At this point of time, if a business process reengineering request is raised, then you also apply business process reengineering and see where the processes could be cut down. Please note that while we are applying business process reengineering, we are not finalizing it because we have not moved to the detailed design as yet. Each and every document which is being exchanged between different stakeholders or process are to be noted, and take sample copies of each and every document, because these documents are then going to be interaction points between these two processes, and you are also likely to encounter and see what documents become redundant as we go ahead for automation. Finally, once your workflow is ready and validated, kindly take the sign off for this final workflow from the client. Also, as I mentioned, in case business process reengineering is requested, kindly create one more workflow for a re-engineered process flow and its validation from the client. But please note, we are going to revisit that workflow once we cover the complete design process. I'm going to showcase some of the other examples of the business workflow. You can see that a detailed processing can be done. This is an example of a compound business, which is property rentals. In this scenario, you can see that we have different stakeholders. It is important to note, and many times the question comes, what is the right way to document a business process flow? What tool should I use? What kind of arrows and all small things. But to be important, it hardly matters. It is dependent on your comfort and in some cases your customer as well, which is easy to use, easy on the eyes, and easily understood by most people as they look at the workflow. So in this case, you can see that on the right hand side, we have specifically mentioned what are the different documents. In cases it was difficult to represent or explain certain things, we have written it down in detail. We have also used different colors to denote different types of items, the flow in case some case of cash, maybe material and the information. I'm going to take one more example. This is another type of business workflow where you can see that this workflow is encompassing a lot of departments and they have an extremely detailed process of manufacturing. We also have a case of multiple companies and multiple countries, multiple sales portfolio. We have departments, sub departments, and within departments there is a big hierarchy. In this scenario, it was important to identify the details within the department as well. So this company was very persistent on managing the detailed workflow within the department as well. So you see different companies, different requirements, different process flow. The depth you want to explore can completely vary from the scope of the implementation. It can vary from the size, number of employees, processes, complexity, and so on. In this workflow, we are taking care of replenishment processes. We have not focused on the HR aspect, which has been explained as the management roles. We have explained the export sales process and the domestic sales process on the right hand side, and so on. Please note that for each and every department, we will again be going into the detailed documental process flows, which is still pending. Now, once a business workflow design is complete, we move to the second stage of business analysis and design, is to be able to interact with the second level, which is the managerial or the department level. At this point of time, you will be interacting with the junior level simultaneously, completely depending on how the processes are being handled. I have seen cases where a department size is just 2 people or 3 people, and you have to literally call each and everybody, because even the employee who is at the lowest level of hierarchy knows a lot about his work, much more than his supervisor. So you are likely to encounter this scenario, especially when our focus is medium and small scale industry. Now for business analysis questions, we need to do and define key questions for arriving at comprehensive description of processes which are currently in place and all the processes that are going to be in place as we implement the system. In ideal scenario, the as is process and to be process should be same, but on a realistic grounds, as companies move to automation and start using software, there is always, in fact always, changes from as is to be process. Please note that to be processes might be using the business process reengineering application, or it could be minor twists and process or hierarchical changes within the processes. So it can vary from level to level. Also, Please understand that these questionnaires are designed as per your understanding of the business. You also have to consider that if we are implementing Odoo, then your questionnaire to be designed based on Odoo structure. So if I am asking a question about manufacturing, my questions would be in direction of how Odoo's manufacturing module is structured. I may not ask questions on a very generic note. Based on the answers, I'm going to relate those questions and design the system. Also, it is likely that your questionnaire is going to be modified based on the industry requirements. The requirement of inventory management or the questions would be very different for a manufacturing enterprise, while it will be very different for an IT company. Let's review some sample documents which will be very helpful for you to understand how these business analysis questionnaires are designed. We are going to take an example of, let's say, accounting and finance. We will take some other examples as well. As I had mentioned earlier, the initial step for the company business process flow design of the organization. And similarly, as we start the department design and process flow, we need to define and understand what is the department's role in the complete organization, and then draw up the department or department flow itself. So now we are coming to level 2, and at level 2 we are basically doing a similar job, is to understand the complete department as if it were a company in itself. We are also defining all possible key aspects, key roles and responsibilities of this department, including the people who are part of it, who is going to play what role. Generally, while it is understood, but as the organization progresses, nothing is in paper anymore. So it understands or it works based on the will and fancy of the person in charge of the department. If you can see the questions that have been put in place here, we are understanding the complete process flow. We are understanding all activities which should be in line with the process flow. We should also be seeing the department organization chart, which again should be in sync with the process flow. If there are any cases of cross-functional roles where people who interact with multiple departments or are part of multiple departments, those need to be taken care of. Now, since we are talking about accounting, we also need to understand from a technical scenario what accounting package to be used. Now, accounting compared to other departments becomes a very different module or business application where the laws of the land is applied. So, an accounting system in India will be very different from accounting system based in, let's say, Malaysia. So while the basics of accounting are understood to be generic in nature, be it credit and debits, be it application of reconciliation, talking about general ledgers, statements, profit loss, and balance sheets, but laws of the land vary these systems a lot. And hence, you have to understand how it operates in a different setup or law of the land or the different country altogether. It is quite possible that as you encounter a different industry or a different business, and since these laws generally change once in a year, you are likely to encounter cases which you might be ignorant, or you may not be clearly conversant on how they are applied on a day-to-day basis. Finally, the last question of the first level, which is the major headaches and pains, which I always focus on, because these are the areas which will make the user happy. So he might be working on 10 different processes, but he's not unhappy with 10 processes. He's probably unhappy with 4 different processes, which is causing him the headache and the pain. And probably that is his motivation to implement a new system or go for a completely first automation of the processes. And hence, you need to understand why that particular headache and pain is coming and how you plan to solve that particular headache and pain. Please note that if his headache and pain related to that business process is not solved, then your implementation will not be called a success at all. This is a key point and my suggestion which will run throughout these 4 sessions today. Now, as far as Odoo is considered, since we are already aware of the features that we have, we are going to ask the client what kind of features that he's looking for. There are certain features that you would be advising him based on the scope, budget of the project. Now, we are aware that Odoo has a lot of different versions, starting from Tiny ERP 1.0 to Open ERP to Odoo now. We also have case of community as well as the enterprise editions. We also have cases where there are different countries in place, so your decision to take the right version can vary on a lot of factors. It is possible that the customer is migrating from an older version. There might be a case where the customer will insist you to go for a specific version. I am safely assuming here that you will be implementing in always the latest version of Odoo, and this questionnaire is likely to be slightly modified every time a new version comes into place. Okay, while most of the features will remain the same, but there are likely to be some changes that are going to come over a period of time. We also know that a lot of applications are available on the community, which is going to enhance the productivity of any module or business application of Odoo. You can see here all the features I have detailed, which the customer would agree. It is understood that customer is likely to say yes to all, but as a consultant, it will be your role to explain him the importance. And in case there is a constraint for a budget, in case of client, then you need to make him aware that what every feature contains and that it is going to add up or increase the cost of the implementation. If the budget discussion is far away or is already over, then you can go ahead and discuss the details. Accounting is generally a module where, except for 2 or 3 features, most of the features are understood to be in common. For example, as you start interacting with a manufacturing client and you know that probably he is operating in India, he is not engaged in exports, so you fairly understand what is the requirement in advance, because 80 to 90% of Indian requirements you should be already aware of. If it is not export, so you need not require multi currencies and exports. If it is not multi company, so you know multi company environment is not required, check printing is not required. So as a Odoo consultant or a business analyst, it will be your expertise to understand the requirement in advance. Okay, however, that does not mean that you will limit your questions there and you are free to ask them, because some features would always be visionary or luxury, but a client might be interested to take that. There are some advanced functionalities which may not be part of the standard Odoo applications, but either it will be developed by in previous projects or might be a necessity that, if you like to suggest, can be done. Please note that while uh, a budget constraint may not be the right type of discussion during business analysis, because either it is already done or will come at a later stage, but it needs to be taken care in mind while doing business analysis. You may not discuss on a feature which the client is not willing to pay. Okay, Then we are going into micro details of each and every process now. So let's say an example to start with was a master data management. So when we talk about master data management, we are now talking about what all master data is to be managed. Again, as a consultant for ERP or as a consultant for Odoo, you are already aware that master data has to be managed. Now, for any process to start, you need to first manage the master data. Master data decisions are generally taken by the department heads or not change over a period of time. So you need to know what master data to be managed and who is going to handle that. That becomes the base of any particular module or any business application as far as the Odoo is concerned. You also understand that I have captured questions or taken care that who is going to create, modify, take the decision to delete, and finally even read the data. Now we are also going to generate RACI matrix for this, which we will be discussing in the business requirement documentation in the current session itself. At this point of time, we are also going to take any possible documents that are generated by users, any possible reports, any possible approval documents, or anything that is part of the process or has importance to the client. We'll take a sample copy and understand that. You are likely to encounter that, for example, in one of the processes, whenever a bank account required to be opened, it was required that the junior executive will write an email to his manager to open the bank account with the requisite details. After he gave an approval, he used to physically go and get the sign again on the paper on the same email that was printed. So this was a redundant process. Now, in such scenarios, first you define what would be the process. If the process says you need an approval, simply create an approval process for bank account creation within the system. In an alternate scenario, you can also provide this access directly to the manager because now he has lesser efforts to do. So if those things are acceptable, then such changes can be applied and can be set in the system. As we go ahead, we go to accounts payable. So apart from master data, you will see that many other processes have been defined here, like accounts payable, accounts receivable, bank and cash, assets, budgets. Please note that these major heads are completely based on the client's requirement. If I know the exact scope of work in advance before analysis, I am only going to list down those heads which are required for analysis. In case the exact detailed scoping has not been done, then I will put down those things which I found based on my experience to be relevant and based on the industry. In some scenarios, if some few new questions come up, then you are likely to give them up. Please note that the questions to these answers may not be as simple to obtain and may not simply come just by passing on this document to the client. This document can only be filled or added with the continuous discussion and interviews of different stakeholders. Okay. After each and every process has been captured in detail in terms of process, in terms of exceptions, after you have collected sample copies, understood the notifications, and any reports to be generated, we are going to now understand the data migration aspects of the department. Now, many departments or many legacy systems would require to be migrated. In some cases, you may not have migration at all. In some cases, you have a very simple migration of data. So cases can vary in detail. You need to understand each and every aspect of it. First of all, you need to understand what kind of data is to be migrated, in what format it is made available to you, As far as Odoo is considered, in ideal scenario, I would expect every data to be available in the designated format template that is provided by me. However, there could be cases of legacy systems to be used for extracting the data. In
Pratik,
such scenarios,
hello. Yeah, Pratik, sorry to interrupt. I think Janki is having one question. I mean, she's raising hand. Can we take the question?
yeah, just a second.
Yeah, Janki, tell me. Tell us what you want.
So Janki mentions that in budget management, what are the things to be covered? Okay, okay. Janki,
Janki, you are unmute. You may ask your question. We can hear you. Janki, you there? Hello. I think she is having some problem in her mic. Okay, Pratik,
no
continue.
problem. No problem. Let me respond to Janki. Janki, we are not able to hear you, but let me respond to your question. So you asked about what are the aspects to be covered in the budget management. Now, budget management primarily focuses on ensuring that whatever designated expenditure and income realization is expected as far as the financial planning of an organization is considered is captured at the start of the year or the period that is designated. In many organizations which are primarily project based or keeps a tab of management accounting, the budgets are also generated based on those projects or events and so on. And hence, first of all, it is important to understand how you are currently managing the budget and at what levels, macro levels, micro levels, and so on. An example, for example, if a company who is only managing the budget from a company's perspective, the budget creation will take care of each possible budget heads or budgetary positions as we call in Odoo, where we are going to capture what kind of realization expenses or income are going to happen in each sub periods if required. If it's a 12-month period, we can divide into 12 months and list down for each and every budget head. Okay. I will also cover this during my functional overview of the budget module. And once you create this, the system automatically captures based on the automated transactions done by the accounting system. If you are managing budgets on a project level, then you need to see how they differ from the company budget. So you need a sample copy, and those budget heads are going to directly match with your GL account. Okay. So the vision for managing budgets should also be in sync with the processes or the way you are capturing your expenses or income or financial transaction. Okay. So in Crux, you need to take care of your different budget heads and see how the budget is handled at the macro and the micro level. Lastly, there is one more scenario where the companies might implement the budget control procedures, where the budget control processes will be taking care wherever there is a use of the current budget. For example, if you have designated a budget for recruitment, and when you are doing recruitment, the system might alarm you that you are crossing the budget, the system is going to track that. If you need a budget control procedure, then you also need to capture and take care of those information where the budget control is required and how. Okay, please note that budget is also one of those modules which are most underused, even though it is one of the most important requirements for any financial system, because people are not able to define and create proper definitive processes for them. I hope, Janki, I have answered your question. If still unanswered or further doubts, you can ask me during the Q&A section. After the data migration, we have user training. Please note that apart from processes, we need to understand the stakeholders, their understanding, and design our training material, data migration templates accordingly. Okay. Number of users to be trained, what is the training technique that we are planning to deploy. uh, a company might have 2 users at one single location, or there could be 100 users at 10 different locations. There could be users who may not have access to computer at all, or a single computer for different people may not be available. People might have issues related to language, that could also be a bone of contention. All these problems are going to come into picture. You might have users who may not be comfortable with online training, and you may be required to travel. So a training methodology is required to be defined while you encounter or design the business analysis. Now, this was an example of accounting and finance. We are going to briefly see document for CRM and sales. But similarly, you can define business analysis questionnaires for each and every department or process as per your choice. You can see that my questions are going in single unidirectional way, clearly strategizing on the fact that I want to understand the department's role as far as the process flow is considered. Please note that we are constantly focusing and understanding that all departments are in sync. All the hierarchical levels of the organizations are always in sync while executing any of the processes related to the ERP implementation. So initially we had focused on the needs of each level. Now at the department level also we are understanding how they are related with the departments and organization as a whole. We have similar questions. The answers are likely to be different and vary, but we need to understand them all. As far as the CRM is sales and concerned, again, as I mentioned, many of these questions are completely based on your understanding of what the client needs. It may not be available in Odoo in a standard vanilla implementation. It is likely that you might take those modules from the community. It might be possible that you might be developing them. It might be available possible that you may have to integrate with a third party application. So a lot of possibilities can exist. It completely depends on your understanding and the initial detailing of the scope. In an example, you can see, for example, point number 9, sales targets and commissions, which is not part of the standard application, but I have written it because these are some of the requirements of any sales module, and hence it becomes imperative for me to ask, especially when I know that the customer might need the sales commission module. These days, WhatsApp alerts and notifications have become popular, so now it becomes in trend. Please note that you are, as a consultant, also hold the responsibility to ask the right questions to the client, because sometimes client may not be aware of each and everything that may be good for his business. As a consultant, you owe that responsibility to the client, that you need to advise him on some of the best practices that are available in their industry, and in many cases the business ecosystem as a whole. Okay. Again, you can see that I am starting from the base, which is the master data, how the master data is going to be managed. There's always a basic protocol and understanding of how you are going to start any module. You will start from defining the master data. You understand the process first. So understanding the process, defining the master data, and then you start with the process which initiates any conversation within the department. For example, the leads, and so on. We have purchase and inventory module. You will see a similar pattern for questions. purchase indent, orders, master, comparison statements, and so on. After your business analysis questionnaire is designed and you have collected all possible answers to your analysis, you finally move to the last step of the process, which is the business requirement documentation. Now, business requirement documentation captures a lot of areas. It focuses on defining a detailed scope of the project. Now, please note that these documents can either be clubbed into one document. It could be in different documents depending on the size of the project, depending on different stakeholders and the document to be shared with. It could vary from organization to organization. But these are the broad areas that you are likely to cover or should cover in each of your projects. You are likely to cover the detailed process flow per department, which will be documented in the BRD. There could be different terminologies which are used by different vendors, different consultants, and even different countries, be it software requirements specifications, be it functional requirement documentation, be it a business specifications document. You can use the name that is preferable to you. Now, let me go ahead and show you some sample documents where we see that however way we defined our business requirements, how we are going to document them. This is an example of a business requirement documentation for an accounting department. Please note that in this scenario, I have created a different document for different department. The reason is that all departments are generally dealt separately, and in a big implementation, you will always have treat them as a mini company. However, that is not restrictive at all, and you can create documents which cover the whole process. But you will also encounter the fact that the people who will be signing off will be different, and when you are interacting with the end users, they will always speak in their own domain and will always be discussing the problems from an individual point of view. Let's go ahead and look at it. At the start of every business requirement documentation, you are going to summarize the department's role in the organization. You are going to define what particular roles are being played, what is the major activities that they are doing. Here you can see a departmental organization chart. You can see that major 5 different user roles are being taken care here. There could be 100 people, but the user roles are 5 in nature here. The key activities are also being taken care. Please note that you need not explain each and every process. This is for like a key job areas of the department. And from here on, we are going to move to each and every processes within the organization, starting from master data management. For each and every process, I am going to define a summary, what that particular process entails. I am going to define an RSCI matrix where I am going to define the detailed description of the process, who is primarily responsible for that process, and if that process requires approval, consultation, or information to be passed to another stakeholders, we record the same as well. Please note that it is possible that certain processes might always have some exceptions, and if there are exceptions, kindly cover the same here itself. Okay. Here you can see for master data, it is defined that manager accounts. Now these names are completely coming from here. It should ideally not be anybody beyond this unless and until he is from another department. And the consultation requires the head. Each and every process may not require any approval within the system. There could be certain processes which might happen outside the system. So I have defined a unique process flow for this particular process. I have also clearly defined now within an Odoo infrastructure or ecosystem how this particular information would be accessed by defining a specific address of the menu. If there is any customization, then I'm going to list down a customization. Please note that from a user's perspective, the details of customization may not be important. However, there could be some customers who are very knowledgeable about Odoo and may want you to list down what actual changes that you are doing. As far as the customer is considered, he is interested to understand what exactly is being delivered to him. Now, how you are customizing it, what changes you are making, does not have a huge impact on them. In my experience as a consultant, most of the documents that I prepare, I showcase them what are they going to get. Okay, how I am going to achieve that, I need not explain them as far as the BRD document is considered, because the customer is not signing off the changes that you are making. The customer is signing off the desired prototype or design document that you are generating, which showcases what is the system that he's going to get, what process he is going to get as far as the new system is concerned. If I look at the other process, let's say vendor billing, in this process, I have explained in detail that this process focus is to ensure three-way mapping, how it is important to proper deduction of advance payments and retention money. There are some aspects which needs to be written down in text. A simple vendor billing process is broken down into further details. You can see a person who is not in the process or in the department is part of the process. So that means I have an exchange or handshake with other departments. So a store executive is going to create a GRN of any material or service and attach the original invoice. We are also mentioning that if a proper GRN is not available, let's say for service, you need to attach an equivalent documentation. After a store executive performs the same, the vendor invoice is actually received by the purchase executive or the store executive, again an handshake from other department. And once this process is complete, it is then handed over to the finance department. You can also see that we have focused and clearly written that a purchase order and a work order is mandatory to create a vendor invoice, which clearly indicates that the system will not allow to generate a vendor bill to the user of purchase and the store without generation of purchase order and work order, which also means that the vendor invoice would be directly linked with the actual receipt of the materials and also to the purchase and the work order. Now, the purchase and the work order should ideally be explained in the purchase documentation of this organization. The third step being the verification of invoice. You can see that this particular step primarily focuses on how a particular billing and payments executive is verifying the invoice based on the checklist or the guidelines set out by the company. Please note that these are the steps which actually happen on the ground but are never documented in picture. So this documentation also becomes the standard operating process within the organization. Now, it is possible that these checklists or standard operating procedures may not translate into some modifications or activity on the system. Some of these activities can be outside the system as well, such as verification from the compliance document of the organization can be completely outside, where he can see that okay, if I need a per vendor bill, then these are the items should be mentioned in the vendor bill, or let's say it should be stamped by some senior authority from the vendor. You can see that there is no role of the senior authorities in the finance department at this stage. Finally, the invoice is validated and booked in the system. At the last level, you can see that once the invoice has been validated, no approval, no information is required to be given to senior authorities. In this example that I am showing you, the actual process was that the top manager used to do the validation because that was how it was being followed. But over the years, they realized that they never really checked anything. The executive is capable enough to do the right settings because the system actually did not allow for any modifications. If the purchase order says that the cost price of a particular item is, let's say, $2, in the invoice he cannot make it $1.5. So if the system has already restricted what was originally being checked, then the approval process was became redundant. So these are the cases where you can cut down the processes as far as the organization is considered. But please note that every such change, every such uh, every such modifications have implications on other processes as well. It could also mean that if any refund has to be raised, or if there is a quality issue, then you will never be able to modify the invoice. A credit note would have to be generated. In one of my projects based on a healthcare company, the financial manager insisted that once an invoice is created, even that does not require validation at all. The system will not accept any wrong entry at all. So there was a complete automation. As soon as the order was received, the system automatically used to generate the vendor bill within the system, and the only activity that was required to be done was to attach the physical bill or scan the physical bill to the system. So finance person only had to check whether the bill attached is same for the created document. So it vastly cut down the process as far as the ERP is considered. These are although also the areas which also allows you to create wonders in the system and inform or make the users feel that how this system is making their life easier. You may not believe it, but as you go along with business analysis, your ideas and suggestions, even though small, make the users feel that this system is going to make our life very easy. They may be doing redundant processes which they may not be required to do. Most of the accountants in most organizations are reduced to doing the admin job of data entry, but after the such systems come into place, you might encourage them to do some activities which involves real accounting. After this process flow has been documented, you can go in the process has been documented, you can go ahead and document this process flow through a diagram which will make it easy for users to understand. Now each and every step that I have listed down here is explained in detail. In terms of Odoo, we have defined which user, the navigation, and As the next step, we can see the details of each and every process. There could be cases where any activity is going to be conducted outside the system, which you will be clearly mentioning in your document. You can see this example where I have clearly written that the invoice verification based on the checklist of supporting documents and compliance is done outside the system. The client requested us that if the compliance can be done on the system without the help of the user, but then they practically realized that there are certain activities for audit which does not require the system to do. It requires a human intervention and a qualitative judgment of the invoice to reject it, and hence it was decided to do it outside the system. In a similar process, let's say for customer invoicing, you can see the involvement of sales executives. Again, a process flow. You can see a project in charge coming into picture, a project coordinator coming into picture, the finance department coming into picture. In this scenario, the customer is also required to sign the invoice and so on. Please note that this is an example of accounting and finance business requirement documentation. It does not mean it has to be exactly like that. It can vary a bit from different organizations. Okay, the major heads might remain the same, but the processes and the people involved to execute these processes is going to be different. For example, pro forma invoice may not exist in all the organizations. I have taken care of the payment requests here. As you can see, the payment request can come from a PO, projects, expenses. You have some approval processes here. We can see the approvals here. You can see these workflows are very similar to how we defined our business workflow. In this case, it's a process workflow. The department workflow is different, and then there is a process work. It might look like a lot of work, but believe me, this makes your work so much easier. In fact, 50% of your design in terms of actual development is also covered from these documents. And as you will advance from one project to another, you will realize that this works becomes more simpler and easily understandable. It is also easy for the end client and the stakeholders to understand how their system going to be, and they are also able to relate, and an easy sign off is enabled. Again, you can see some screenshots. Again, the screenshots are going to vary from project to project. Now, the case with screenshots could be where certain customization is expected and you may not have the actual screen designs available to you. If you have a developer at your disposal and you can create prototype screens in a fast manner, then good luck with that. You can also get to do that. In cases where you are not in position to do that, or it's a complex requirement, then you can use some mockups as well. Let's check out another where payment processing is considered. Here we are taking care of how payment orders are generated, generating PF documents, releasing the payments, then a detailed process flow once again. You can see here most of these processes are outside the system, but needless to say, we have still captured that. Please note that we will keep capture each and every process it may not be required that they are done through the system. Reason is, it is likelihood that it is going to impact your understanding of the business, and over a period of time, 3 months down the line, you will not remember each and every process that they execute if you do not document them. Payroll processing also becomes part. In some cases, the payroll processing person is completely different. You can see that the salary is executed by payroll people, but the payments are executed by the manager. Process managing the treasury, which is the cash in bank, managing the creation of any bank account, bank reconciliation, petty cash management. We have asset management processes, and so on. This is the almost a 64-page document. Generally, the accounting document is the biggest. Managing the budget, creation, revision, MIS. I will now also cover let's say quality control. You can see different processes as far as the different organization levels, defining the master data quality tests, defining inspection for incoming items, generating quality inspection report, in process inspection, purchase process. You can see, I'm going to relate how you can see that the purchase is linked with vendor billing. Here are the hierarchy in the or the department levels in the purchase department. Vendor management, the process flow for creating the vendor. Vendor evaluation process, the formulas. Generating or creating products. Managing the price list. Generating the purchase order. You can see a very detailed procurement related workflow here. And in this example, you can also see that there's a budget controlling system. Okay. Finally, all possible reports that needs to be generated. We look at inventory management. department hierarchy, key activities, master data. You will be able to see a lot of uniformity as far as the documents and the process flow is considered. You have seen that we have 2 or 3 levels of hierarchy in each and every department. We have certain types of functions being done by similar type of users like managers or heads who handle the master management, gate in, material receipt, gate entry. You can see material receipt and the information is finance department for vendor billing. Okay, create vendor invoice. You can see that there is a handshake here. So the process handshake that was evident in the finance department for vendor receiving vendor bill is now becomes an output for the other department, which is the inventory. Okay, and all these things should come up in your department process flow as well, and this will come up in your organization process flow as well. Once these documents are ready, depending on your requirement, you can also go for detailed specifications of from a technical point of view for your developers, but that is a completely different requirement or an effort. It is primarily meant for developer, and most of the times customers do not get involved or interact with those documents. Those are primarily technical in nature and can be created in different manner by different organizations and different consultants. In many cases, the technical documentation will also involve a technical Odoo technical lead who will understand the BRD and create the documentation. Sometimes the documentation also varies from the fact that after the business analysis is conducted, we go about and do our implementation methodology, which is the topic for our next session. Once this design document is ready and presented to the top management, based on some inputs and feedback, we might change them. At this point of time, the business process reengineering will be applied and all possible modifications would be done. Okay, this is the time and this is the moment where all possible changes which is required should be initiated and captured. Before sign off of these documents, please do not initiate the implementation, development of the code, or even the migration of the code, because as per my experience is considered, and most of you in this domain, a lot of things change at this level when the actual sign off happens. It is also important for the client and the stakeholders to understand each and every detail which is mentioned in these documents. The different departments can take responsibilities for their own department, which makes it easier for these documents to be accepted and signed off by the client. As a next step, once the sign off happens, the implementation methodology is discussed and a detailed implementation plan is drawn. This will be the topic of our discussion or presentation in the next session. Before I open the floor for questions, just to briefly summarize the session. The session was focused on business analysis and system design for Odoo implementation projects. We covered the fact how business process flow designing process has to start, how we will focus on business process understanding from different hierarchical levels in the pyramid, be it the top level, middle level, or the bottom level. We will also cover what are the front office services, support function, and the shared service. Keeping this hierarchy in mind, we went ahead with process flow description. We took an example of see how process flow description has to be generated, and the same process was followed while we created the process flow diagram or the business flow diagram for the department as well as individual process flows. We discussed in great length how business process analysis questionnaires have to be designed, what information are we capturing, what is the agenda, what is the reason to look at a certain questions, what kind of answers we are looking for. And as you can relate that the same questions were translated into the system design document that I demonstrate. Okay. So with this, I end my session. I would now like to open the floor for questions. We'll keep a 10-minute time for our questions. I would request or anyone who would like to come ahead and ask me any questions, please feel free to do that.
This is a discussion time. If you have any questions, you may ask by raising your hands. We will unmute you and we can start the discussion on the practical grounds. Whatever doubts you are having in mind, please raise your hands and ask. Feel free. And in further 3 sessions, you will be getting these things in detail with the practical implications. And
Mr. Chandrasekhar has raised his hand.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning.
This is Raphael from Kenya.
Hi, Raphael.
Hi. You've talked about two documents, the BAQ and the BRD documents.
Yeah.
Now, who prepares these documents? Is it the customer or is it the person who is implementing the system?
The team which is implementing the system is responsible for creating those documents, designing those documents, and also responsible for filling out those documents. It will be his
Okay.
responsibilities, his expertise to design them. He
Okay.
will know much more about the implementation more than the customer. So it will be his job.
Okay, thank you.
Mr. Chandrasekhar, I can
okay,
see your. You can unmute yourself and ask your question.
I think there is some problem in his mic. So if you can write down your question, we can reply you back because I think there is some trouble in your mic. We cannot unmute you. This is saying like there is no mic detected.
Mr. Chandrasekhar, I would suggest you can ask your question on the by typing in case there is an issue with the mic. I have a question from Mr. Chandrasekhar who wants to ask. From a process perspective, I understood the importance of business process flow and business requirement documentation. But from a market practice, At what stage do you perform this step? Okay. So, Mr. Chandrasekhar, every project may have its own story, and the different implementation strategies are likely to be used. Okay. There could be certain clients who might want to initiate with a business analysis process and design process before they finalize the software, the strategy, the budget, timeline, stakeholders, and even features. There could be cases where a detailed scope is presented or created before the start of the project. There could be a fixed amount allocated for the project, and there could also be cases where the business process and design can vary from phase to phase, okay, similar to agile processes. We will be covering these types of strategies in different cases. So in Crux, the answer is that it can vary from project to project. uh, Next question I have from Mr. Satish, who has mentioned about the workflow validation. He wants me to explain a bit again, so I'll just go back to the screen. So, Mr. Satish, as I was explaining during the session, while the workflow can be generated after asking different exceptional questions to the client, it is quite possible that they have either missed out certain aspects, or based on the good business practices that you as a consultant understand, it is important to validate this workflow in all possible scenarios, also considering the outside stakeholders in mind. And hence, for all possible business requirements and exceptions that you are going to encounter during the implementation or even without implementation, test this with each and every scenario. Let's say you have a product A, so you have a workflow. But if you have a product B, does the same workflow capture or is valid? Is it valid for the C scenario? Is it valid for D scenario? And so on. Once you test this workflow, apply your business process reengineering to ensure that all workflows again are synced and no exceptions are left within this workflow. And finally, each and every document which is exchanged between these steps needs to be taken note of, which will be used, if you recall, in the during the business analysis questionnaire, where we will be capturing these documents and making notes based on which the final design is created. And finally, we will take a sign off on this workflow, including the one for which we have applied business process reengineering, if applicable. I hope I have answered your question. I have a question from Ms. Janki. So she wants to ask, how do we prepare a document before starting development? We have to explain them Odoo functionality to them, or we just specify things that fall under requirements alone? So Janki, to answer your question, 95% or rather 99% of your clients will have only a brief idea of the Odoo based on certain literature that they have read on the internet, or maybe through some marketing materials available on internet through videos or maybe Odoo website. Now, once you encounter the requirement, you have to get real. You will not modify everything based on Odoo. You have to understand the requirement in general as a business. Okay, because ultimately the client is interested in fulfilling his business process requirements rather than implementing Odoo. The focus is to solve the problems or get the features or achieve the automation. If we completely go in the direction of Odoo, you are not likely to ask certain questions. You are likely to miss out on certain key processes that the client wants to automate but may not be able to encounter during the business analysis process. So you should start understanding the business process, and while you are designing, you should focus on understanding of your Odoo and then design the system accordingly. I have a question from Mr. Lionel, who is asking me
Yeah, hi,
small
Pratik.
process. Yes.
Yeah, I would like to ask, like, for small businesses and that don't require a very detailed BRD, they especially small businesses with like say a 5-person team or something, yet they require a process flow to be defined, but don't want a really elaborate. How do you tackle that situation?
Thank you for the question. So the answer to that question would be a constant yes to the document once again. The only thing I would suggest in that scenario is that in that scenario also your process documentation still holds a place. The only case that can come up if this requires the documents to be toned down in terms of the scope of definition. So if your process demands only 2 people, or maybe 2 people are doing 5 jobs, then this process might be combined into one. The business process flow will become simpler because there are not many more stakeholders involved. For example, a simple purchase order can be a 3-step process because of approval levels in a general organization. In such organization, the process flow will still come into place, but instead of 3 steps, it will be 1 step. My strong suggestion is that you always generate similar documents. You can tone down the scope and the depth based on the size of the requirement and to keep it more simple. If you do not do that, you are likely to miss out certain steps, and it also is going to affect your designing per se. Because please understand, the business that is currently small is likely to grow bigger. You also have to design the system for future, not for today itself. You will have to
Exactly.
understand that it has to be scalable also. So always keep that in perspective and design your system accordingly. So I will always say yes to the documentation. The scoping sizing can vary as per your understanding. Also comes to the understanding and the expertise of the consultant in it.
All right. Thanks, Pratik.
Yeah. So Gaurav, we have finished our question answer session.
Like, share, and subscribe our YouTube channel videos, and you will be getting a lot. And yes, don't forget to comment upon these videos, because if you comment on these videos, this will really going to give us the motivation to upload more and more videos. Thank you so much. Stay tuned.